Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. My name is Ruru and I am a TV Holic. Mimi's not here again, so I'm just going to do this solo. So, basically we're doing the new anime movie that's #1 on Netflix, currently in the UK and I believe in the US as well, K-pop Demon Hunters. So, I just want to say that I pleasantly enjoyed it. It was really good, and it felt like watching a K-pop drama, K-pop K-drama. It was just like a tiny little K-pop drama in English. So it was weird, but interesting, fun. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it should be a PG. I think the rating needs to go up because there's themes of killing demons and stuff like that, and they're just basically slaying demons. So it seems very 15. It should be a 15 or something, rated 15, because it's got a lot of violence in it. Although you don't see any blood or anything like that, they're slaying demons essentially, and then they're going down to the pits of hell and showing things like that as well. So it's quite, there's a lot of demons in there. It's quite, often adult, kind of, not adult, but sort of adult-ish, teenage level. So yeah, I think they need to sort out the rating of that. I hope there's a sequel, because they kind of left certain bits untold, and I feel like they need to tie up loose ends. So hopefully there is a sequel. Love the music. The Candy Pop song by the boy band, and then also the Huntress songs as well. The main one, the golden one. So that it's really about, also there's themes of female empowerment and things like that in there. So I think that's quite interesting. Anyway, I'm digressing. So it starts off with they're showing the history of what these girls have been doing. So they show the concert and everyone cheering with their little light things. In concerts, in K-pop concerts, everyone has those light things for whatever band that they support, or whatever the band is that they're watching. And then they basically have a silhouette of the girls, and then they show these red lines across the country, countryside back in the day, and demons coming out of these red things and sucking people's souls out of their bodies, and it all going into this red fiery hell pit with other demons there. And then 3 women who are dressed in hanbok, and they are slaying these demons. So this is all back in the day, and then they come together, and I believe they're singing or something. Yeah, they're singing, and they use their songs to help create a shield and protect people. And the demons can't get through that shield, and they're forced down to hell. So they're just talking about in every generation. So they showed generations this, the 60s, the 20s, everything. They use their the 3 women, or it's always 3 women, and they use their voices to slay the demons, basically protect humans. And they're always on stage. You see them on stage, and it just goes on and on. So they're trying to so basically they have a teacher, these 3 new girls. So it's Rumi, I forgot the other 2 girls' names, the pink haired girl, and maybe I should pull their names up. That would be useful, wouldn't it? Let's pull their names up. K-pop Demon Hunters. So Rumi, and then there's Mira, and I believe the other one has what is it? Zoe. I think it's Zoe, yeah. So, yeah, so they're basically being taught by their teacher who was previously one of these women who, slayed the demons, and she was like singing on the stage, and now she's teaching next to the tree, next to this next to this tree thing. So it's like sacred golden Hamun tree, Hanun tree. I hope I'm saying that right. And then you just see everyone excited for the concert goers, and they're like talking to the cameras and saying they love Huntrix. And people are saying who their favorites are, like Mira, because she's like fierce and stuff like that. And she's like the black sheep of her family, and she's so cool. And she wore like a sleeping bag to the Met Gala and stuff like that. And then other people saying Zoe, because she's like a rapper and she grew up in America in a place called Burbank, and she raps and she gets really scary, so they think she's like really cool. And then other people like they love Rumi, because her mom's a Sunlight Sister. So the Sunlight Sisters were the people before the band before hers, the K-pop girl band before hers that used to slay the demons. So yeah, and they're like people are like crying and like getting so excited for the concert, and the way they did it is like just really good, I think. The way they highlighted this, and then next they have like everyone cheering, and then the manager is looking for the girls. He can't find the girls anywhere, so he calls them, and he sees they're in an airplane. So they're just basically like getting ready. They're carbo loading before their concert, and they're excited. They're eating gimbap and just basically like devouring the food like little monsters. And then lo and behold, they don't know that they're in a plane full of demons. So then they realize they're demons, and they've got their own, like, before that they've got their own little ramen cups which say their names on them. And I believe it's like they're promoting it, and I think they probably have those out in like in the real world. Probably K-pop demon hunters ramen. So anyway, so they realize that they're in a plane full of demons, so they slay the demons, and then they kind of like I believe like fall out the plane. Not fall out the plane, the plane's going down because there's no one driving it, like flying it. So then they kind of like fall out the plane and dive towards the stadium that they're playing at, the concert stadium that they're playing at, and they do their makeup while they're in the air, hair and makeup, and they're also painting the demons' faces as well, so that's a bit weird. And then they just basically carry on skydiving to the concert, and they arrive in style, and everyone just thinks it's part of the concert. And then while the concert's going on, they kind of like slay the demons on the stage, and people just think it's like, again, like great effect and stuff, visual effect. Then we see the slayed demons go back down to hell, and they're talking to their master, the hell beast itself, the like fire, the devil probably, and he's like this pink purpley thing, and he's at the top of these giant like pyramid, this giant kind of pyramid with staircase. And then the demons are crying because they didn't achieve what they needed to, and there's a demon in the back saying that he wants to, like, he goes that I'll help you by creating a boy band, a demon boy band to rival these girls, and this demon is Jinu. And then we cut to, so their boss, the devil, essentially, the fiery devil, or the fire, or whatever you want to call it, agrees, and then basically we cut to the girls. So the girls are actually in a lift, and they're kind of like talking about their new song's going to be released, Golden or Gold or something like that, and they're really excited. And then they move on to they come out the lift, and they're surrounded by their like team with like food and like light and water and stuff, so they're getting robes put on them, and the manager's basically praising them for like the demon like stage effects and stuff like that, and they were like so cool, and they're just eating, getting their nails done, getting makeup touch ups and everything like that. And then the manager's checking like your like top of the chart, so we've booked a week-long staycation for you guys, and so like you guys can relax in a resort in Korea. So they're very excited about that, because that's all they wanted to do. They just want couch time. So they get back, and they're excited to get like onto the couch in their home, which is like a penthouse suite. And not Rumi, but the other two are really excited, and Rumi is texting behind them. So I keep forgetting their names. Zoe and yeah, whatever her name is. They're like really excited and they can't wait. But Rumi is texting furiously on her phone or doing something, and then she goes down and she finds like one of her outfits, her K-pop stage outfit, puts it on, and the girls are like carrying like piles of food to eat in front of the TV and on the couch, and they're just like relaxing and getting cozy on the couch and about to eat, when Rumi pops up and she's all dressed up, and she basically says that she's released a song, their new single, and so they have to basically, she hands them like their outfit, and they have to go promote this new song, because Rumi didn't want to relax, evidently. And then they're just like going, not on tour, like you can just see everyone getting excited, like on the streets and everything. They can see like promos for the song, like the music video and everything, and people are getting excited and watching it. It's a really cool music video as well, especially in an anime. They've made it like very like, interesting to watch. So that ends, and then you like see all these social media comments saying that everyone's excited, and then you see them on stage for an interview. So they're talking, and then there's the live like premiere of their song, and the girls are really excited, but Rumi is having like a bit of like trouble. She's struggling, and basically we see her unrobe her from her like costume, and she has like all these like patterns on her skin, like demon patterns, just like the demons do. So and she's just singing No More Hiding, and while she's hiding herself, like basically covering up, and then basically she goes onto stage to sing. They're rehearsing, I believe, and then she loses her voice, so she can't do it, and they have to cancel, and fans are like really pissed, and she's like stressing out, and she can see when she pulls down her like zipper, she can see that the patterns have gone up to her voice, so she's really stressed out. And then she's recalling like her singing and getting her hair braided when she was a kid. And it's basically the woman who adopted her, who is one of the previous like demon slayers, and she's telling her about the cat pattern. She's showing her the patterns, and she's saying you have to cover them up because people won't understand. And she's basically we find out that she was her mum was a demon slayer, and they're at her mum's grave, and her dad was a demon, and that's why she has the patterns, but she's good. And she's just basically now got back to her room, and she's just stressed out. And she's not her room. What I meant is that she's at her boss's manager's place, which is her adopted mother, with the girls. And then as they're leaving, they're like, "Let's go to the bathhouse," and she's like, "No, maybe another time." The girls are saying to Rumi, but then there's beautiful views from this office. Like they've made it look so like beautiful and picturesque. Yeah, so there's like tall, big glass windows, and there's like lovely views. And so yeah, she's saying maybe they'll understand as she leaves, and her mother catches that, and she's basically like, "No, Rumi, nothing can change until your patterns are gone." So she's basically saying that once you get the golden Hanun, do the golden song, basically your patterns will go, and then you can, reveal your story or whatever, like show your arms or whatever, because they won't have patterns on them. So she's just telling her that, and then Rumi looks sad and looks down, and then you just like it cuts to her like getting ready for like the concert with her outfit on, and she is at the top of the like of a building, and she takes her jacket off, and she's basically showing her not stripes, what's it called, her marks, not marks, her patterns. And she's singing, and she's basically like sad and just showing that she just wants to be herself and like show who she is, but she can't, so she's like struggling with that, like, and she's basically sat down on the ground, and like it kind of, you can see the waves that it causes, like I don't know how to describe that, but like sound waves or like energy waves, and they're like bluey purple. And she's just struggling with, I don't know how to fix my voice. And then she's just like really sad about that. And she's staring out she can see all the waves. And she's like, "Why, when I'm so close?" And then she like shouts, and like this pink wave goes through the crowd, and she's like, not crowd, the city, and she's scared because that pink wave represents, like the demon world. So she's scared. She goes downstairs on the lift, and she sees her friends, Zoe and the other one who I forgot, Mira. Yeah, Mira and Zoe. And she's basically sad, and they kind of like, so her friends basically just give her, I believe it's like a Korean stew, or like, yeah, a brothy kind of stew with things inside, and she's having that, and she's like, "Sorry, I couldn't do the show, guys." And they're like, it's fine, like it's just best, like if you like can recover your voice, let's just focus on that. Then their manager's calling them, and she's just like really disappointed. And the manager's like, "Oh, don't worry, like it's like that's why you pay me the 3%, basically, because he's gonna handle the crowd and everything, and don't worry about like the situation, basically." And then the rest of the other girls say that they can, it's fine, they'll just reschedule. And she's telling them that she's really worried her voice is in trouble. And then Mira's like, why did you basically push up the release date of Golden. And she's like, because we're so close and it's so important. And they're basically just consoling her and saying that we'll call Celine, and I think Celine is the mother, Rumi's, adopted mother, and we'll sort it out. We are hunters, and voices are strong, and your faults and fears must never be seen. That's what they're repeating. And then they laugh, and then Rumi's not laughing. She's still like sad, which is, you can really see her sadness. They've portrayed that really nicely. And then basically they're like, you got to hide it and fix it, and for sure we have to hide it. So they're just basically saying, hide the fact that your voice is like not there. And then basically they say to Rumi, why don't you just take a break and skip the Idol Awards? And she's like, no way, that's like the most important show, and it's when we strengthen our hormone for the entire year, so we can't skip it. And she's basically like reiterating, we're so close, and they're just like, don't worry, we'll get through it together, we do everything together. And they're basically like, we have 2 weeks to fix her voice, and they're getting excited about it. And then Zoe says, I know the exact thing that you should do. You should go to this healer. So they like put disguises kind of on, and they go downtown or like into town, and they go to this healing guy, and he doesn't look very legit, but they walk in anyway. And he's basically has all these pictures of like these K-pop stars everywhere with him, and they're like bowing and saying hi to him and stuff. And he's like, you guys don't need any introduction. And Zoe's like, can you make a tonic for her? She's lost her voice. And he's looking at her mouth, and he's like, I must understand you as a whole in order to heal you. So he's just like staring at her like creepily, and then he just says he like cold reads like all the girls basically, and then he gives them like this tonic. As they leave, he's like, oh, I'll give you this tonic. And it's meant to heal her voice. And then before they go, she sees like a picture of the 3 girls with him and he's stuck on a picture of himself, and it peels off. So she's like, oh, Zoe, what have you got me into? And then he gives the tonics, and they basically leave. And Zoe's really excited because she thinks that she's fixed. Why am I blanking on her name? The purple girl's hair. I'm not hair. The girl with the purple hair. Rumi. That's it. Rumi's voice with the tonic. And then they're in the alley, like walking back, and they see like people coming, and they think it's fans. So they see shadows and people talking. So they like, oh my god, where can we hide? So they all hide behind Rumi, and Rumi covers her head with a hoodie and crouches down. And they see these like really attractive, good-looking guys walking down the street, and they look like K-pop stars, and you can see abs and everything. And then they're like getting excited, and then what we see next is basically Jinu, who's at the back, and then Rumi, because Rumi was basically like saying, why are you guys getting excited? And she was like, ugh. Then you kind of see her like falling for Jinu, and he just walks right past her and almost brushes shoulders with her, and she kind of like drops the tonics everywhere, the box of tonics, and falls backwards in slow motion. This is all in slow motion, by the way. and she can see his face and he can see her, and she falls back on her back basically, and all the tonics fall to the ground. And then it looks as if he is holding his hand out like to her to help get up, and then he just like dusts his shoulder off instead, like, and it's basically like, ugh, watch yourself, and then they walk off like rudely. And then the girls help her up, Rumi up, and they're all pissed, and they're like, ugh, they're so like, they're cute but like so horrible kind of thing. And then they're packing up all the tonics from the ground, and then basically they see this purple, they see that they disguise themselves again, and they see this giant purple mist kind of thing, pinky purple kind of mist, and everyone stops to look at what's going on. And basically it's these guys, they're performing like You're My Soda Pop song, and they're basically K-pop stars, and everyone is like enamored by them. And while they're singing, they kind of realize, the girls kind of realize that they're doing their like little routine and stuff, and it's like really catchy and infectious. And then they basically see their, I think it's here when they see their like patterns, and then they're giving out presents to people, so the girls are like stomping on the presents, and you can see everything's lighting up pink because the crowd's going wild and they're really excited by them. The girls are stressing out because these are like demons. And then you see kind of Jinny look at, through the crowd, look at Rumi and like dust his shoulder off again, basically indicating that, you know, you're like dirt. And then they're just kind of inviting the whole crowd to their showcase, and they're like, their showcase is soon. So then everyone is like amazed by this. So there's a lot of new fans, and then we see like the girls getting ready for their showcase, or not showcase, they're getting ready to like kill the Saja Boys, because that's the group is called, the boy band is called the Saja Boys. So yeah, you see that. And then basically there is like a spicy challenge. So there's like a TV show, and the Saja Boys are drinking hot sauce, and they're like struggling with it, and one of the Saja Boys basically beats the other contestant. And then at the end of it, they basically announce that so the Huntrix are watching from like the distance, ready to slay them. And then basically Jinnu announces that we want to invite some other people on stage, and he says it's the Huntrixes. And then the spotlight goes to the Huntrixes, and they put down their, you know, they're slaying their swords, like their lightsaber kind of things, and they're like so excited, and the crowd's so excited, and the girls are caught off guard, and they had to go down the slide basically to get to the stage, and they're wearing like PVC or like some kind of like leather, and it's like screeching, and they're like stuck to the slide, and they're going down really slowly, and then they fall into the ball pit. And the Jinnu and the Saja Boys are really like loving this, like how stupid that the girls look and how they caught them off guard. And next, what happens? So they bow to each other, and they keep bowing further and further and further. And then as soon as the Saja Boys leave, they follow them outside to basically slay them. They see they've gone into the bathhouse across the street, so they run to the bathhouse, and they look for them. They can't really see them. And then all of a sudden the demons pop out, and they start slaying them. There's like all these demons, water demons apparently, and the Sergeant boys are not like in their demon form, they're just like watching the girls slay these demons. So then Rumi decides to take on the Sergeant boys herself, or Jinnu. So she slays some demons, some of the water demons, and then runs after the Sergeant boys and corners Jinnu, and Jinnu kind of like escapes. And the other two, Zoe and why do I always forget her hair? The pink hair name, the pink hair Mira. Zoe and Mira are just basically like watching, not watching, like wondering where Rumi's gone. So there keeps being like these pinky purple like cracks in the wall appearing, and more demons are coming out, and they're like, we can't handle it. We need Rumi. So they're shouting for Rumi, and she's not responding because she's trying to, slay Jinnu, and he keeps getting away from her. And then basically he notices that there's a tear in her sleeve, and he notices there's patterns on her arm. So he realizes that she's just like not an ordinary like demon slayer. She's part demon, and then there's a hole that opens up in the wall, and the girls, she can see the girls are struggling, and she needs to go there, but she doesn't want to show her patterns to them. So then she kind of like bumps into Jinnu, and then he ties up the sleeve so the girls can't see, and she goes back in quickly to help the girls. And she starts slaying all the demons, the water demons, and the girls start slaying all the water demons together. And basically, they manage to slay all the water demons. And the girls are just asking, "Where were you?" Like, and then there's this old man saying, "Get out! This is the men's sauna, basically, bathhouse." And then they bow to him and say, "Sorry, sorry," and he's just like basically scrubbing his back, and then out of like this a tap or something, a water demon comes out and sucks the soul from that old man. And then a hunter, the demon Jinnu, is just like walking down the street talking to himself, saying she's part demon. And then his patterns light up, his pink and purple patterns light up, and he's sucked back down into the depths of hell. And then the pink voice thing is talking to him, and all the other boy band members are there, and everyone else, and they all have these like all the other demons are there, and they've all got these like glow sticks, Sergeant boy glow sticks, and then some souls are coming into the fiery hell pit, and basically the fiery hell pit is very happy. The pinky purple fiery hell pit is very happy with all this, like gathering all the souls. But Jinnu says this is just a start, and you'll be feasting on all the souls in no time, as soon as we get more. And he basically says that she's got, patterns, but the fiery hell pit says that I have no control over her, which means basically that she has no shame. But I'll find a way to like get it out of her and destroy her and the hunters too. That's what Jinnu says. And the fiery hell pit is like basically telling Jinnu that I've taught you well. And then we cut to the penthouse. The girls are covered in like cuts and scratches and like plasters, and they're like noticing, they're looking out into like Seoul, and they can see that there is, where all the bluey purple spots used to be, there's now pink spots everywhere. So they are basically looking everywhere, and they can see, like I said, there's pink spots everywhere, and they're worried about the Honun, and they're trying to steal with the Honnoon, with the golden song. They're trying to steal the like hell mouth of hell, so like none of the demons can get back up. They want to close it, so that's what they're like aiming for. Like they have to send all the demon boy band back, and all these other demons that are popping up and causing pink spots everywhere. And then Zoe's like, "Don't worry, like soda pop is just a fad right now. It's not going to last, and there'll be old news by next week." Then they hear their manager come in, and it's Bobby. So they like do their makeup and get rid of all the scratches and everything on their face, and they act normal. And he's basically stressing out. He's like, "We've got a situation. The Sergeant boys are like completely going viral, and they've got a variety show coming up, and they've got like huge fandom now and stuff. Everyone's doing the Sergeant boys dance." And he starts doing the dance as well, and so does Zoe. And they realize they've got a problem, so basically they're trying to fix her voice. They're talking about like, you guys should relax, and it's just social media, it's not the end of the world. But what the girls can see and what he can see is different from the penthouse. They see all the pink spots, and he can just see like the city of Seoul. And then Rumi says this is a battle of hearts and minds, and a battle for fans. And she's getting serious, and it's the biggest battle of them all, basically, she's saying. And she's like, we've got to crush these guys and end the Sergeant boys for good. And we need a new song, basically, she's telling Zoe. And Zoe said, I've got like a whole book full of songs like that I've been writing. Like books full of songs that I've been writing. I've got like 30 notebooks full. And Mira will need like really good choreography. And she says, yeah, don't worry about it. And then we needed like a really good diss track to expose these Sergeant boys. And then they're basically like getting excited about it, and we're going to expose their demons, and they're like really like, getting fierce about it, and their eyes are popping out and stuff. And then their manager's like, like, girls, it's like, I'm not sure about the whole demon thing, but yeah, nice, love the energy kind of situation. So then you see Rumi back in her room, and she is like looking at the tonics, and she notices there's like a sticker on top. So she peels it, and she realizes it's 100% grape juice. She's like, oh, sorry. So she thought that the tonic was going to fix her. Now she's like stressing out about what to do. And she's thinking about Jinnu, who she's like having thoughts about him because he said that she's part demon. So then she sees this like pigeon on the balcony in her room, and it's wearing a hat. And then all of a sudden you can see it's got like multiple eyes and like this weird tongue. And then it walks along the balcony, and then we come to like this giant cat. And it kind of looks like a small tiger, and it's blue, and it's coming towards her, and she draws her sword, and it kind of drops a pot and then picks it back up with his paw, and then it keeps dropping and picks it back up with his paw, and just does it over and over again. And then, she can see that it's just like a simpleton kind of cat situation. It's not like a evil cat. So she picks up the pot and puts it back, and she's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. And the cat drops it again. She's like, don't worry about it. Really, it's okay, just leave it. And then she's asking, what are you? And a note comes out from its tongue, and it says, hello friend. And basically in Korean it's Jinnu, and he wants to meet her. And then she's like, basically, I'm not going to meet him. Who does he think he is? And then like the cat and the bird kind of like melt into the ground, into a blue melt. I don't know, something. And then she looks down, into the city, and you can see them reappear, and they look back at her on the street. And then she's basically like, okay, then Jinwoo, let's meet. So she follows them, and the cat and the bird, and they get to a place, and she sees them go into a portal. Then she looks up and she sees that Jinwoo is standing on the roof. So she like runs. She does like this epic like run, like free running kind of thing, and jumps up onto the buildings and stuff. And she then basically draws her sword, and she sneaks up behind him, and she like slays him from the head. But she realizes it's just a mannequin. And then he's like behind the mannequin. All of a sudden, he appears behind the mannequin. He says, "Oh, I didn't expect a hug or anything, but this is like a lot." And then she tries to slay him again. And he's like, "Oh, this is just like, I thought it would be like a cute like icebreaker, but I see I was wrong." So she's still trying to slay him. And he's like, "I just want to talk about your patterns." And then he's like, "First, I just want to basically say, like, those pants look like terrible, like teddy bear and choo-choo trains. What were you thinking, like, wearing them?" And then she's like, "You're supposed to be dead." And he's like, "Have you told your friends? Do your friends know?" They don't know, do they? Because if they did, they probably wouldn't like be with you. And then he's like, "I'm guessing I'm right, and you're a demon girl and also a hunter, hiding, walking around free in the human world." And she's still like got her sword drawn and trying to slay him. And then she's like, "It's none of your business, basically, what I am." And he's like, "I know what it feels to have them." And she's like, "You're a demon, you don't feel anything." And then basically he's just telling her about his past trauma, like how he feels like shame and misery. That's all we feel as demons. And he's like, you know, the devil essentially controls us, and we can hear him in our ear. "Do you hear him in your ear?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? I don't hear anything." And he's like, "You're lucky." I'll never forget the first time I heard him. And then he basically talks about like ancient times, hundreds of years ago, when him and his family were like dying of poverty, and he was like busking on the streets, and he still wouldn't make anything. And then the demon kind of made a deal with him, and he took the deal. And him and his family were like living great for a while. And then basically it all ended, and everything was, his family were like taken from him, and um he was like basically consumed by the patterns, and then he was taken down to hell basically. And his family lost everything, and he's really sad, basically talking about the memory. And he's looking at his patterns. I left them, I failed them, and I'm constantly reminded of that shame, a shame that I can never escape, basically. Oh, so before I didn't tell you, so when Jinwoo decided to do this like boy band situation when he was in hell, and he was talking to like the devil, essentially the fiery pit, he said that, "I'll do this on one condition, like if I could have my memories erased." So this is what he was talking about. He didn't want to remember this situation. So yeah, that's important. So that was the deal that he struck with the fiery hell pit. And then he walks up to her, and they kind of look like they're having a moment, and he touches her, and her patterns appear on her neck. And he said, "It looks like you've got some shame of your own that you're trying to cover up." And she's like, "You don't know me. I can tell. I know you, and I understand you, basically. I'm the only one who can understand you, really." And then she pulls out her sword, and she says, "I'm nothing like you." And then he's like, "Denial, I get it. I was there once too, and I'll be here when you're like done pretending," he said. he says to her basically, until next time. And then she tries to, slay him again, and he just kind of disappears. And she feels like defeated, and she's thinking about his situation. Then you see her back at her penthouse, and she throws those pants in the bin, and she wears something else. And then she's like basically thinking while she's got a guitar out. And the girls are like sitting together trying to figure out like a song. And they're like, we have to like make the best diss track ever. Or there'll be like a demon apocalypse kind of situation. And they're really feeling the pressure, and they've got dartboard and they're throwing at Jin's face. And the other guys as well, they've drawn like demon like horns on them, but they're kind of still like lusting over the guys because they look cute. And then Mira just pulls down all the posters. And then they decide, take down, that should be a song. That's what we should call it. So they're like thinking about the lyrics for that. And they're singing the lyrics together. And then Rumi coughs, and they're like, rest your voice for the Idol Awards. Then we cut to the Idol Awards, and it's basically the Soldier Boys on stage, and the Huntrixes, and they're like giving the Soldier Boys dirty looks, and Soldier Boys get these flowers, and these old ladies, the Halloweenies, are like marching down the street, and they are Huntrixes are slaying the demons behind them. And you can just see them like slaying demons in the streets everywhere. Because now there's like a whole bunch of demons everywhere thanks to the demon pop group, the Soldier Boys. And basically, Rumi starts asking one of the demons before she slays them, are you a prisoner too? Is the like fiery pits of hell making you do this? And then basically Mira comes and slays that demon and asks like, are you okay? Like, what were you talking to that demon about? Why didn't you just slay him? And then they cut to the stage again, and the girls win, the Huntrixes win an award for Golden. And then we just cut to a train station and them slaying more demons at the train station. But as the train door closes, you see like this whole like poster thing of the Soldier Boys. And they're pissed again. Then the cat comes back and hands Rumi another memo kind of thing. And she kind of shuts the door, and we don't see what was in the memo. And then they're just like writing song lyrics again, and she looks sad. She's getting sadder and sadder. You see them slaying more demons, and basically all the posters and stuff and billboards and things like that are being now replaced by the Soldier Boys because they're gaining more and more popularity while these girls are not like performing their song because they're trying to rest Rumi's voice. And you can see social media, like the manager is freaking out because he's seeing social media. You can also see like more pink spots around the city compared to the purple. And then there is a signing, a book signing kind of thing, or an album signing to like promote their new song Golden. There's like a huge queue, and then all of a sudden the Soldier Boys turn up, and there's this massive queue for the girls, and basically they turn up by wearing these like they're at the front of the queue, the Soldier Boys, and they're in these they covered themselves with these giant sleeping bags, and then when they get to come to the front to get their album signed, basically they kind of reveal themselves, they pop out of the sleeping bags, and the girls are pissed. So they get another table for the Saja boys, and the crowd is split in half. The fans want to go to see the Saja boys. And then Rumi's like, let's just bring them together. The tables together and we can do it together. So basically the girls are pissed and they're like, why did you do that? And she's like, because we need the fans. And they're sitting with the Saja boys. And then basically Jinu is saying, I thought you didn't like sharing. And she said, I love sharing. And then again, he's like pressing her. He's like, oh, so you shared your secret with your friends. And then we cut to Mira saying, if only I could smash your demon face right now, while she's signing. And then Jinu says, shall I tell them? And she said, no, I'm going to tell them eventually. And then you see this little girl get really excited to see them. And she basically hears their conversation. And she said, don't worry, your secret's safe with me. And she thinks that they're a couple. So she's made like a t-shirt of them together. And they're like, what? They have like a nervous laugh. And then Mira is trying to sign this guy's foot cast, and they're like fighting over who's going to sign it. And then they cut to Rumi again. She's like, I'm going to talk to someone. I'm not going to talk to someone who's helping like the fiery pits of hell. And he's like, no, I'm just helping myself. Look, if I help him, he promised to erase my memories. So I don't have to hear those voices in my head. And they'll be gone. And she said, that's pathetic. And he's like, why am I pathetic? You can't even talk about your patterns. He whispers that in his he whispers that in Rumi's ear, and she basically stamps on his foot because they're sitting next to each other signing autographs. And she's like, I hate them just like I hate all demons, and I hate the fiery pits of hell. Basically, I don't know how to say the name. It's Guima. Guima. Hope I'm saying that right. Guima. And then Jinu says, I hate, if hate could defeat Guima, I would have done that a long time ago. So he's like, that's not productive, trust me. And then there's another little baby fan. She's like, I made this for you, and hands it to Jinu. And he's like, for me. And then they look at the picture of Rumi and Jinu, and basically Rumi's like, maybe listen to those voices instead of the ones in your head. Her voice instead of the ones in your head. And then basically it was the end. It's the end of the signing, and everyone gets flowers. All the K-pop stars get bouquets of flowers. And Junie's like, unfortunately, the Saja boys have to run. Thank you, everyone. And he takes the picture. And then you see the boys throwing all the flowers away. And Jinu is looking at the picture, and we finally see it. It says, Jinu, you have a beautiful soul, and like him with angel wings. So he's like thinking about it, and they focus in on soul because obviously he's a demon and he doesn't have a soul. Then the manager of the Huntrixes is like, the internet loves this, and the internet is never wrong. Like they're in love with like the whole situation of not the situation, but the whole fact that they've done this like signing together. And also they're looking at pictures of like video clips of Rumi and Jinu's feet touching, and everyone's made like the fandom has made like drawings of them being a couple and having a baby and this and that, and like other, like they're trying to pair the other girls in the group up with the boys, the Saja boys as well. So they're just looking at everything, and then it's back to the Huntrix's home, the penthouse, and they're writing the song. Rumi's writing the song and reading the lyrics out and trying to sing. And I believe she is singing now, like better. And she looks sad, and she's got the cat and the bird in her room, and the cat's just sitting there, and she's got another note. He purrs, and then all of a sudden, Mira is at the door, so she's trying to get rid of the cat quickly. She's like, "Get out of here!" And she picks up all her music notes and puts them in the trash. And then the bin falls over, and the cat is tempted. You know, the cat's very simple, and he wants to like turn over the bin because it's fallen over. So he kind of like climbs out again, and then they're talking at the door, and Mira's just like, I want to come in. Who are you talking to? And she's like, no one's here. Then I was gonna say Huntrix, but what's her name? Not Mira, the other one. Rumi. She sees the cat, and she turns the bin back upright, and then she puts a big like blanket over the cat and sits on the cat. And then Mira notices that, she's like, oh, so you've changed the lyrics, and she looks pissed. And basically she's like, do you really think that this is the right song to beat the Guima, the fiery pit of hell? And it's so hateful, she's saying. And then Mira's like, yeah, they're demons, we hate them, that's why we've got to perform this song. And she's like, Rumi's like, yeah, I know, but... And then Mira's like, what's up with you? You've been acting like really weird lately, and you were talking to the demon. I saw you, like, what's going on? And Jinwoo and stuff like that, and playing him up to psych him out, basically, she says. And then Mira's like, I'm pretty good at reading people. Actually, I'm kind of an expert, and I just can't shake this feeling that you're keeping something from me. And then she basically convinces her that she's not keeping. She sits on the cat and holds its tail, because its tail is popping up from behind the blanket, and she's like, I guess these demons are just getting to me, Mira says, and she basically convinces her that everything's fine, Mira, that everything's fine. And Mira's like, we just got to send all these demons back to hell, so I'll be relieved like when everything's over and we can just like finally send all these, like when we do our like single and we finally send all these demons back to hell. So Rumi is just like really sad. She's just sitting on her bed after Mira leaves, and she's just like contemplating everything. She sends a save the date letter to Jinwoo. Then we see Jinwoo on the screen with his band, and they're like, basically our fan club has hit 50 million fans. And we want to give a shout out to the Huntrixes because we could have done it without their support. So they're basically antagonizing the Huntrixes in their like promo. And then you see this giant fridge with like Soulja Boy's drinks in there, and you see all the Soulja Boy fans, their energy being sucked out, their souls being sucked out basically by the demons. And you see all these like missing person reports have tripled within the last 24 hours, and then you see all these souls, like watching Jinwoo in hell with the other Soulja Boys, watching all these souls going into the fiery pits of hell. The Guima, I hope I'm saying that right. And then he sees a save the day note from Rumi. And then it cuts to these iconic steps that I've seen so many times on loads of other K-dramas. And Jinwoo is on those steps. And he is basically waiting for Rumi, because that's what the note said, meet me here. And he's basically like, she's late, show me to meet her. And then she pops up like right next to him. And he's like, oh my god, you scared me. And she's like, follow me. And he's like, oh, you're finally ready to talk. And he's like, you could have picked somewhere nicer for our date. And she's like, it's not a date. What are you talking about? And he shows her the note, and she's like, that didn't mean date. You're so old. It's strictly business, like strictly a business meeting. He's like, if I told you there was another way to get your freedom, she's basically, if I told you there's another way to get your freedom, would you believe me? And he's like, go on, help us with the Idol Awards, she's basically saying, and you can be free. Like, we're gonna seal up the Hon Moon forever. So if you're on the top side while it's being sealed, then you'll be able to basically be free from going back to the fiery pits of hell to Guima, and you'll be separated from the demon world forever, and you'll be free of your patterns, and no more hiding, no more secrets, and you'll be away from the demon world, basically. And he basically agrees, and she's like, you're not a bad person, you just tried to help your family. You made a mistake, Jinu. And he's like, it's not as simple as that, but it's a mistake. And he just looks like ominously, and then at her while she's like looking away. And then she's like, I've been like a mistake since I was born, basically. And I have to believe, because if I don't, there's no hope for me and there's no hope for you. So they're having like this deep moment, and they're just like staring at each other. And then this woman comes and says, do you want to buy a bracelet? Or an old Halmony comes and says, do you want to buy this bracelet for your girlfriend? And she's like, oh, I'm not. And they're both like freaked out by that. And then they're just talking about, they're just basically bickering. And then she's like, I can see why you're single, and just gives the bracelet to her instead for free, and then goes off. And then she's staring at the bracelet, and that's the funny thing about hope. Basically, one of them says, nobody else gets to decide if you feel it. That's what she says. That's what Rumi says. And then she puts out her hand to Jinu to say, like, here, you can have this bracelet. And she's like, fine, and then walks off, and then he grabs her hand, very K-drama like. And she turns around, and she's staring at him in slow motion. And then he's like, oh, I was just trying to get the bracelet. And they both like kind of like recoil to their sides again, shocked by what he just did. And then he's like, for what it's worth, I don't think you're a mistake. And they're just staring at each other. And then she just walks off, and they're like, bye. And the cat pops out and is looking. And then it's basically like commentators talking about like how Golden's going to come out soon, and they're so excited. And then the girls are practicing on the stage the song, the diss track, basically. And then Rumi's like, the lyrics are throwing me off, and she's basically like saying that I don't want to do it because I feel like there's too much hatred in this song and stuff, and I don't feel like it's the right song for us to sing to close the Hannoon. And the girls are like kind of like fighting about this situation. They want to do that song, and then Rumi doesn't, and they're having like a disagreement about it. And they're like, it's too late for us to change the lyrics. At the Idol Awards are basically tomorrow. And then Rumi's like, I don't think I can sing this. And then their manager walks in. He's like, hey girls, I just wanted to bring last minute pickups, like snacks for you guys and stuff. And he's like, I know it's been like stressful lately, but you've been working so hard on the idol routine. And then you see like this pink flash. And he's just like, I want you to know if you need anything, I'm here. And then the girls like go because they saw the pink flash, so they have to go like get the demons, basically. And then you can see the manager looking at his phone, and you can see the Soda Pop song and join our fan club. And he's getting enticed to join the fan club, just like everyone else. Then you can see train, an underground train. The girls are on the top of the train, and they're basically fighting the demons. There's like loads of demons while they're like discussing this song situation. They don't know what to do about it. They're still fighting the demons, but fighting each other too about what song to seal the Honnoon forever. And they just don't know what to do. They're like getting more and more agitated with each other. And then the train actually comes out of the tunnel, and they're still on top of the train. And they see more demons, like this huge like hole tear, and all these demons pouring out. So they get ready to fight. And then Mira's like, if you're one of us, prove it. And they take down all those demons. Basically, the demons are jumping up at them, and there's like epic fight scene while they're slaying all these hundreds of demons with their like lightsaber, sword kind of things. While they're still like they start singing, and then there's like a really big demon who knocks down. I keep wanting to say Mira, Rumi, and you can see that demons are like covering up the train, so it's like the windows, so it's black, so the passengers like in darkness, and then you can just see them like continuing like slaying all the demons, and they Mira just puts the whole sword into the train, and it kind of slays all the demons at once. And then they're staring at Rumi, and then Rumi, they go down into the train, and everyone is gone. All the people are gone, and you can just see like a phone with Sergeant Boys playing on it. And they come out of the train station sad because they've lost all those people. And I think I'm going to leave it there and do a part 2. So remember to like, share, follow, and all that stuff. And we'll be back soon.